We got us a little better climate to go and video in. We're going out the four walls of my room, out of the house, under the undercover area. Got those famous bricks in the background. We're changing it up. We'll go to a special spot that I like to go to. I like to read, I can think. See you there.
And voila, here it is. It's a place where I like to think, reflect, and sort of just escape to nature for.
We're just taking ourselves a seat here at the beautiful park. It's a beautiful day today, eh? But hi to everybody that have joined, everybody that is new here. Subscribe if any of this resonates with you. This isn't for attention or likes or anything, it's just simply for education. We're covering today is what accountability. But for me, my story, how I learned it, how I've applied it. But basically, getting to the root of this, like the start of it, is back in my younger years, obviously not growing up without a mother's or father's love or, father's guidance. I did have my grandparents, thankfully, bless their souls. I did have them, but it's obviously not the same, you only have one mother, one father. Everybody else can help to a point. One of the things for me was that in my head as a child, at the age of 6 years old, I had developed a feeling of worthlessness because I'd looked around at all the other kids in my school and I was like, fuck, what? All these kids have their mum and dad with them, they're watching them at school sports. They're walking them to school, they're riding their bikes, some of them, and why didn't I get that? So then I ended up developing this feeling of worthlessness. And so how to compensate for that, how to compensate for it, I had tried to be as perfect as I could. I had gotten really, really good at sports, purely just for the fact of attention. This is what drove me. It wasn't, I didn't have good genetics or anything like this, but I did a little bit, but I excelled very good at sports. But the main driver for me was just to be looked at. Just attention, just somebody to come look my way and go, notice me, love me. With this come this perfect persona. And then obviously having that, accepting that I had done wrong, was never on the cards for me. That was never an option for me. I had never done wrong. I would never do wrong. And how this affected me, obviously, well, that stopped me from growing in my later years. I developed the habit of being perfect. I tried to be as perfect as possible to make up for that love that I wasn't getting, and that, that mother's love and that father's attention. So what a child usually does is they try to do the most sporadic thing, the most cautious thing to make noise, to just get some attention, say, look at me, notice me, So then what happened with this, when it comes to accountability, I had developed fight or flight. I had done flight. I had always lived on flight mode. And with this, what that caused me to do with accountability, I'd run away from my problems. I would run away from them. I would push blame onto anybody else. I would blame, partners that I'd been with, friends that I'd been with, anybody except for myself. I couldn't take the pressure of me knowing that I had messed up. I was like, no, fuck that. I'm perfect. I have to be perfect, or else I'm worth nothing. The track where this led me to was that I started finding myself in trouble, certain troubles. What had happened before this whole healing course, what actually woke me up, was that I got arrested. And while I was sitting in the back of that cop car, went to the police station, and I was sitting in that cell, and everything was just flashing before my eyes. This is really nothing compared to being locked up, but it was enough for me. What happened was all my whole life was flashing before my eyes, and I was like, I'm fucked. I'm gonna have a cross on my record, I'm going to potentially serve a bit of time. I was just thinking the worst, the proper worst. But the beautiful thing about this, what happened, while I was sitting in there, I was thinking, I was just like, fuck, I'm being held accountable for my actions right now. Like I'd always been a sly person and deceitful person. Even when I did do wrongdoing, I'd try sweep it under the carpet. So nobody would know. Behind closed doors too. I was a fucking sly person, sweeping shit behind doors. And what had happened to this? I'd actually finally been held accountable, put in the spotlight, and gone, you'd made some wrong actions, brother. I'm putting this in the fucking spotlight. Watch what happens if you do this again. No soft love. No, it's okay, come here. It's not your fault. It was just straight, raw truth. You muck up, you're getting your ass into some greens, brother, and going behind a cage like the rest. So the beautiful thing about this, what happened, is that my eyes finally awakened. I finally saw that I could not get away with doing wrongdoing to people, or let alone to myself, wrong actions. There is somebody to answer to always. It was the beautiful thing about what happened when I went, after I finished my court case, I had 3 court appearances, and after this, it's like I had this inner voice in me saying, we're gonna acknowledge that we make mistakes, but we'll never run away from our problems anymore. So how this helped me to grow, brothers? How this helped me to grow was obviously me having pride as a man. It takes more pride to know that you made a mistake, say that you can make mistakes, because anybody can talk about all their good points or, what they excel at. Everybody can do that. But can you sit there and acknowledge that you have cons, you make mistakes? Maybe that your eyebrows are a little bit slanted. Can you go out and say that? Can you own that? And simply not give a fuck? That's what I mean. It's something to think about. It's something to think about. But going back to it, it's a beautiful thing once you can master it. Once you can sit there and accept yourself, that's when you start taking back your pride as a man. You start taking back your pride as a man and owning your mistakes. One of the best examples I could give when it comes to accountability, brothers, the best way I could break it down was that majority of us here, we played video games and shit like that, and so the best example I could give was that, see, when some of us, when we're playing the game, choose any game, and you're getting smashed, or somebody's taking you for a walk around the park, and you're going, oh fuck, this game is shit. It's just all because of the game, because the game's shit. When in real fact, it's not. Your shit. But you not acknowledging that you're terrible, or that you need to brush up on your game a little bit, you're going to stay in the same stagnant rank as you would say. You would say in that same rank. You won't be able to grow. You won't be able to learn anything because you're not acknowledging that you're not good. In turn, when you incorporate accountability, you say, okay, I'm shit. You go into training. You sit there and you work on the little things that you've noticed that you are shit at and accepted. You work on the little things, the little mechanics, you could say, the little game awareness, something like that. That's what incorporating accountability is. That's the power that it gives you. It gives you the power to be able to grow and learn without having a closed-off mind. Accept that you have some flaws. Accept that you make mistakes. Because without this, you can't fix shit. With accepting this, you'll be able to sit there and say, like in the game, go into training mode, sit there and fix the little niches, the little cons that you don't like. You can sit there and change them over time. Why wouldn't you do that? That's the better option, isn't it? It's 100%. If you can't be honest with yourself, you can't be honest with anybody. Same with love. If you can't love yourself, you can't love anybody. You know, when it comes to all of this shit, when it comes to all this growing and what it means to be a man, here's my thoughts on being a man. It's not who can look the most gangster, who can pop off the most houses, who can be the most successful at pulling the most girls. In my eyes now, I see this as little boy shit. Something my brother told me that always stuck with me, you know, when I was younger, when I was 16, 17, was that the words that come out of his mouth, and this is coming from a gangster, is very wise. And what he told me was, my boy, you know what makes a man? A man is somebody who looks after and provides for his family, that can assist in all areas, emotionally, physically, financially, the complete deal. This is what it is to be a man, brothers. But how to do that? Work on the inside. I'm still learning, but I have enough tools to be able to preach and express a little bit of assistance. If you ever have any questions of, you know, maybe you need something broken down, or you maybe even just need like an answer to something, hit me up on TikTok, right? It's something for everybody to use. That's my public platform that I'll be using. It's Jahs Path, JAHS space Path, PATH. Your questions, don't hesitate. Just ask. It comes without judgment, bar. I'm just here to help. That's it. I'll see you all in the next one, eh? So have a lovely day or night whenever you watch this.